Alright, let's do it. 5 reasons to read The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. Hello fellow book nerds, this is Gabby and today we are back with another 5 reasons to read X. This time we're talking Hacienda by Isabel Cañas, and if you've never seen one of these videos, this is a video where I try to tell you 5 things that I think really stood out to me about a certain book, and if you like these things, there you go, your next read, perfect for you. If you don't like these things, stay away. Okay, let's start with a little bit of a synopsis. So The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas is a book set in 1800s Mexico. We follow a girl whose dad was killed during the Mexican War of Independence, and she and her mother are kind of left desolate, have to rely on the charity of their relatives who have disowned her mother because she wanted to marry the main character's father. And when the main character gets presented with an opportunity to marry this man called Rodolfo, she jumps at it because she thinks that being a wife of this man will help her elevate her status and help her pull herself and her mother out of obscurity, have their own house, and have some security. Weird things start happening when she does get married and then goes to visit this house, which is beautiful but really has fallen into disrepair, and she's now the donna of it. Ghosts, for one thing. Weird things happening. It is a Gothic novel and a Gothic horror. So let's talk about 5 reasons why I think you should read it, or what's cool about it, I guess. Okay, so my reason number 1 why you should read this book, if this is true, is you're a fan of Mexican Gothic / Rebecca / just Gothic horrors, Gothic novels. Because this book really belongs in that genre. It's done so expertly. I think the way the tension is set up, the way the conflict is set up, it's all about the past influencing the future and taking the toll on the people now because of what happened to the people back then. And that's, you know, the hallmark of every good Gothic novel, what defines the genre. And I think if you're a fan of that in general, this is a really great book that has elements that you really enjoy because you enjoy the genre itself. So like if you were just looking for something next maybe Gothic to read, I do think that this one is a really good one. But if you need more reasons, the atmosphere, I would say, is my reason number 2. It's just so greatly and expertly done. The house is scary and weird and creepy, and you do feel uncomfortable, and weird things start happening super quickly. It's just such a good atmosphere setting, and the weird horrific things that are happening and how it affects the main character, and I really did feel really unsettled, whereas I feel like sometimes, you know, you read horror and it's not that scary to you. Maybe it's scary, yes, what's happening to the character is unsettling for them, but you're not feeling unsettled yourself and you're not feeling in danger. But with this book, I really did feel like it was just kind of like creepy, and I felt a little bit like iffy, and you know, like I felt on edge, and I think that was done really well. Just this feeling of this house in the middle of nowhere, and these people that are clearly upholding these secrets and not trying to fight this house. And I felt that was done really expertly and really well done on the horror front. I was scared, so hopefully you're gonna be scared too. Reason number 3 would be an interesting setting. So the backdrop, like I said, is the 1800s Mexico, so it's just past the Mexican War of Independence, and I just think it was such an interesting slice of history to be a part of and to experience. Not something that I've learned a lot before, and like definitely not in school, you know, maybe in some media like movies and books, but it was really cool to see. And also the makeup of the people living there and their view of the world was really interesting to see. I think you can really see the racism and the colorism and the impact that the Spanish had on Mexico, how this war reflected how people view themselves. I mean, the main character, the whole thing is that she's a little bit dark-skinned, so how that impacts her presentability in this society, how she carries herself. It's just like all these views and viewpoints you hope are kind of dead, but probably are unfortunately still alive in some parts. And I think it's just a very interesting setting, something different, especially for, you know, a Gothic novel. I mean, there's Mexican Gothic, which is set in Mexico, but it's often Gothic novels are often set in, you know, somewhere in England, in the moors or something, and this was a really interesting modern look at that genre in a completely new setting, and I thought that was just done really, really well. Number four, I would say fast-moving action. So I do feel like that Gothic novels can be a little bit slow sometimes. Sometimes you're a little bit meandering because, you know, it's all about losing consciousness and the ghosts impacting your subconscious and how the madness slowly takes over. Whereas this book, I feel like I was really surprised how quickly the main character was like, all right, there's ghosts here. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. There's ghosts here. Something's happening. We need to take care and solve this. And she's really like solutions oriented. I really appreciate that in the main character. I think she was really hands-on in solving this problem. And the way she is hands-on, she goes to the priest in the local parish. And that brings me to my point number 5, which is that it had a very interesting romantic relationship with great chemistry. So the main love interest in this book is a priest. So I don't know, do that with that what you will. But I think this relationship between the main character and the priest was just really, really interesting. And you really feel their connection, their chemistry, and you understand what brings them together, and you also understand what keeps them apart. And I think just like the way it was executed was really good because it had tension, had chemistry, but you also believe that these two people really care about each other. And I feel like they did a very good, believable job being together in this setting, in the situation, like bonding over that. I think all of that was just super interesting how that was done and very believable, and I rooted for them, and I think the ending was really good. Overall, it was very bittersweet but really beautiful. So overall, those are my 5 reasons you should read The Hacienda. I would just say this book was really such a good win for me. Really, really had a good time with it. I think it's such a great Gothic novel. I think it has the scare, it has the horror factor, but it also has the hope and beautiful culture and the romance in it. So if you're interested, definitely go check it out. Let me know if you've read it. What have you thought? Did any of these reasons convince you to pick up The Hacienda? And thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could comment, like, and subscribe, I really, really appreciate it. Really helps me out. But that's it from me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!